Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. In this video I am doing the topic of circles, and I'm going to cover circumference and perimeter with compound shapes that involve circles. This is usually done in form 1, 2 or maybe form 3 depending on the school, and it's done in math. And of course I'm your trusted teacher, Miss Sharma, making sure that you all tune in and understand the content that I'm providing for you. So please stay tuned to see what I have in store. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go through the parts of a circle, right? So the first thing is, this is the center. Well, that's the easiest one to know. The distance all around, or this distance all around here, of course not following my line, is called the circumference. But if I just want part of it, like here, I'll call it the arc, right? Another popular term that we know is the radius, and that starts at the center and it goes across to the circumference. That's one of this, the radius. But if I were to get two of these, then I will call this the diameter. Now, thirdly, another section here now, if I had a line drawn from one point to another point touching the circumference on two ends, but it's not passing through the center, this will be called the chord or a chord, right? Now a chord like this will divide the circle into two segments. This is a segment here and this is another segment here. This one here, this blue one, is usually called the minor segment because it's smaller, and this one is called the yellow hole. The yellow section here is called the major segment. Now if I had a line that was touching the circle at one point like this, then that will be called a tangent. Or if it was touching at 2 points like here and extending out like this, it will be called a secant. Now, lastly, I want to get into the sector. Now, the sector is what I kind of describe to my students as a pizza slice. You see, it has an arc on the end here, right? So if I pull it out, it'll be like this, right? Now, of course, remember, guys, that the whole circle is made up of 360 degrees, so a sector will be just a portion of that, right? So I hope that you all understand these labels that I have here. Okay, so with a circle now, there are two formulae. There's circumference and there's area. But in both of them, they involve a term called pi. Now, pi looks like this. It's just a line with two lines coming down like this. And pi really is a symbol that represents this fraction here, 22/7. And if you were to put this into a calculator, you will get this long number like this. Now, sometimes in some questions, they round off pi to this or 3.14, etc. But whatever it is your question states, you are supposed to use pi as that. Now, for circumference now, the formula goes like this. It's 2 pi r, r being the radius. So it simply means 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by r. Now, 2 by r, as I mentioned before, is actually a diameter. So this is the same as writing it's the same as writing pi by diameter. So either one will work, 2 pi r or pi by diameter. Now, another popular formula is area. And that also involves 2 pi and a r, but it's written another way. It's called pi r squared, which means pi by r by r. So it means you're taking your pi, whatever you're supposed to use for pi, multiply by a radius by another radius. This gives you the area of the circle. Now in this video, I'm going to be covering circumference and perimeter also with respect to compound shapes. So now I want to move on to some questions. In this question, I have a part A, a part B, and part C, and they ask the same thing for all three. They say calculate the circumference or the perimeter of each shape. Now, the circumference will really be the rounded distance around here, and the perimeter will be all the total distance, right? So in part A, if I had a little ant like this that had to walk around, he will have to walk here, the straight distance, and then this curved distance. Now, I don't know if you all realize, but this curved distance is actually half of a circle. But firstly, he would have to walk one radius here and another radius, which is actually 2 radii, which is the diameter. So I would have to write here now, the perimeter will be 7.5 plus 7.5 plus 2 by pi by radius, which is 7.5. That's the whole circumference for the circle of 7.5, radius 7.5. But I need to get half of it, so I'm going to multiply by a half. So this distance here, this calculation here is actually this piece here, right? Now when I work this out, 7.5 plus 7.5 is 15. And this piece here works out to be 23.57142857. Now adding these two, I get 38.57142857. And if, say, I had to do this to three significant figures, then this is the value that I will keep or change. Because this is a 7, I will raise this value, so I'll get 38.6. And of course, you write centimeters. So that, everyone, is the answer for part E. Now I'm moving on to part B. Now for part B, I need to find the perimeter again. So again, the ant will have to walk this here, which is 3, and here, again, 3, and then this curved part here. So that will be 3 plus 3 plus 2 by pi by 3 by a quarter, because this is a quarter of a circle. This piece works out to be 6, and this piece works out 4.714285714. And when I add these two, I get 10 point, etc. All of this. And of course, let's round to three significant figures again. So this will end up being 10.5 centimeters. And that is the perimeter of part B. Now let me move on to part C. So moving on to part C now, I will see here that this shape now looks like there's a semicircle here on this side and another semicircle here, which actually makes up a whole circle. So if, say, I had the ant that was here and he had to walk, he would walk actually 2, then he'll walk half of a circumference, he'll walk 2 again, and then another half of a circumference. So in all, he will walk 2 plus 2 plus the entire circumference of one circle. So it'll be 2 by pi by, what is that? The radius of this now will be 3, and I don't need to divide by 2 or multiply by a quarter or 3/4 or anything like that. It's one entire circle, so I will get this here. So this works out to be 4, because I'm adding up these two, and this other piece works out to be 18.8571428.6, and when I add my 4 to that, I'll get 22 point all of this. And again, rounding to three significant figures, guys, I am going to get 22.9 centimeters. So that, everybody, is the perimeter of my third shape. So with that said, I really hope that you guys understand my examples, you understand my lesson today, and please feel free to hit me a like, a subscribe, a comment as well. Sure, love hearing from you all. Take care, everyone.